Hello, everybody. My name is Stephen Cox. So as my Calc 3 professor used to say, this is, for those of you who are here for the first time, this is the Calc 3 final exam. You have 90 minutes to complete. That would be for the people who've tried it more than once, which would be me. Some of the classes I like to take more than once because, it was fun. So we're going to talk today about awesomer things in space. My name's Steve. Like I said, I worked for NASA for 29 years for people who may or may not have been here. I like to give away things, so if you look at me funny today, you might end up with something in your hand. If you didn't get something, look at me funny. We'll get you something. And that just adds to the humor if you look at me funny. So I've done a lot of rocket launches. I sat in the control room. I sat on console. The launch director would ask me, is your system good? And I would say, go. Then I would sit on my hands, so I didn't say anything else to stop the launch. So very fun, very exciting. It was hours of boredom by minutes of terror. I mean, sheer terror. And a lot of praying, because, got $1 billion sitting on the launch pad. You make a little mistake. I only possibly scrubbed the launch one time. And it wasn't totally our fault, maybe a little bit. The idea is, as an engineer, you're supposed to plan for contingencies. Something happened. We could have planned over it. We didn't. Our system didn't really fail, but we could have also planned better. So the launch director said, plan better next time. So I got 71 charts. That's a lot with animation and rabbits. So I'm going to cut through this. So we got Laika, Ham, and Perseverance, so rover. So some of our main characters today. Laika went up on orbit, but was never planned to come back down. He's a dog. He only can get a heat by panting, so he overheated. Ham went up, flew, came back down, spent the rest of his life. Oh, they actually tried to put him back in a test capsule, and he bit him. He said, I'm not doing that again. I got a personal story from somebody like, he was not going back in that trainer again. He said, I don't know what you just did to me, but we're not doing that again. I don't care how many little peanuts and stuff you give me. Raisins don't quite cut it. And this guy over here, he works for free, so you just give him a little charge. He's got an RTG on him, so he's like radioisotope thermal generator kind of guy. He runs for a long time. All right, let's see if we can come up with other stuff here. So space station, anybody heard about that? So let's take a quick run around space station. Realistically, if you kind of grind it all up as far as volume-wise, it's about a small house, 2,000 square foot house. Is that small? Anyway, but it's 3D. You get to use the roof and the floor. So not terribly huge, very, very heavy, about 230 car weights kind of thing. Quite expensive. It's going 18,000 miles an hour. Gets pretty good gas mileage when it's up there, but about as big as a football field. So we'll kind of run over that a bit. There's what it looks like in space. I might even have a picture over here. I'm going to just carry these around because, like I said, if you sneeze at me or look funny, I may give you one. So we got the solar panels. They live basically in just the little tube sections there, but they go running around every now and then and look around. This is the Russian section there. They always keep these modules on there in case they have to go home quickly for some reason. Let's build it right quick. It's fun to, if you see it go over, there are apps that will tell you, they'll actually send you an email or a text saying, hey, it's getting ready to fly over, go look at it. So if you find one of those apps, tell me what it is. All right, what do we got here? About the size of a football field in general. There's one spot over here, a module somewhere over in here, that's named after some of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Because when you're in the high bay testing in the middle of the night and you want to know which one it is, you don't want to say the multi-purpose laboratory module, MLM. So you name it Leonardo. He actually even has a patch, an astronaut patch. Cool. So let's walk around in there. Has anybody been in space station? What's the deal? I've been in space station. You haven't been in space station? Yeah.
As this setup is, it's a vast improvement on older space stations' orbital facilities, using an array of handrails which are situated at intervals on every servo-driven vacuum hose. This fan sucks any and all liquids away, whisking just to generate fresh oxygen and make the next batch of drinking water. necessitate 4 hours just to suit up and be for jobs as apparently mundane as changing batteries on the exterior of the station. While the days of the week make even less sense than the difference between night and day.
That's kind of like the days of the week on here. Does anybody actually know what day of the week it is? It's Friday. So, did anybody recognize? Maybe I have an extra shot here of it. Yeah. Anybody know what that is? A toilet. Talk about small toilets. So, general protocol is you get your own color funnel, and there are different genders of funnel. Let me just go ahead and say it. And the protocol is to change the bag out after you're left. So, it's a vacuum cleaner kind of thing. So. That's actually it's a stopper because it stinks. So so they put that down. It does kind of freeze dry it. It sucks the moisture out of it. It sucks the moisture out of it. Did you hear what I just said? It sucks the moisture out of it. So I don't know. Gee, what's this? Rehydration station. So wonder what goes in there. So it's $50,000 a pound for water. So they reuse their urine, so very cool. Yeah, I don't know. I guess if you're up there. So we got some cool pictures here. This is these Soviet modules, so they can hop in there. And here's the cupola. I've been in the cupola. It was on the ground. It was on the ground. Wasn't on orbit, so I still get credit. So I've stood right there where that guy is with the camera on the ground. There was a wall on the other side. And just to answer the question about is there a lot of stuff in space, yes, there's a lot of space up there. The odds of getting hit are very, very low. That's a chip out of the window right there he's pointing at, where it was hit by something, micrometeor. I don't know what all the other scratches are. Maybe somebody just needs to clean for the day. It's not really easy to get outside and clean the outside, so it takes a little bit of effort. The Chinese also have one. It's called Heavenly Body, Tongzhong Space Station. If you look at theirs, it's a little smaller, but much cleaner on the inside. So they're doing something a little different. They're actually trying to make their an up-down orientation for just comfort in talking with people. I mean, if I was floating around here upside down, that would be probably difficult to listen to. So it gets, they have fun in the space station. They use all 4 sides for everything. Here, they're trying to make an up and a down to it. So, and it's a lot cleaner looking. We have cables everywhere. Here's the generic size comparison. This is Mir that Russia had. It's down. We had Skylab. It's not up there, but Skylab would have been about as big as this right here, generically speaking. All righty. So let's get into some rocket sides here. We got quite a few eclectic topics here, but it's awesomer, meaning more than one. Things that are awesome, more awesome than awesome. Awesomer, cool. So we've got Saturn V, and here's some relative lifts and costs. This is the new Blue Origin one, so 150 million a launch. That's what he's hoping for. He reuses the first stage. So this was on the order of the day of $1 billion to $1.5 billion, 140 tons. Theirs is 50 tons. Then we got the new Artemis program that's 95 tons, and it's about $4 billion a launch-ish. And then we've got the Starship Super Heavy here that we've been seeing going up. And yes, they've had some problems. I saw the other day where they split one of the boosters in a pressure test. Did anybody see that? I saw one where a dinosaur ran out of it too, so I'm not sure which one's true. But it's only running 200 to 300 million a launch, and it's 150 tons versus, way more weight, considerably less cost, less than 1/10 of the cost, and it's reusable. That's why the cost is down. And then we got their 2 breadwinners over here, the Falcon 9, because it has 9 engines on the bottom. This one has 33. Lift enough weight for most payloads, 25 pounds. That's what the shuttle was kind of flying at, 25 tons, 25 pounds. Anyway, and then we can go heavy here add some extra solids to it. These fly, I think they've had these fly like 25 times. So every now and then they'll want a lot of lift, so they'll leave all this stuff off, fill it full of gas, and then they can throw up a little more than 50 tons. Already, I think I talked about this a little bit. That's the RS-25 is the name of the shuttle engines. They have about 500,000 pounds of thrust each. The solids have about 3.3 million pounds of thrust each. So about 8 million pounds of thrust total. That's quite a kick. This is the wide body version of it, because apparently somebody stretched the video. This is what it looks like before it lifts off. You see it rocking? Yeah. So when these engines light and they test them, it pushes it forward up here about 6 feet. The guys in here feel that push forward, and then when it pops back, as soon as it goes straight, they light these puppies on the side here, and it takes off. Now, in order to get it to fly, there's 4 bolts that hold each of the solids down. This is what they look like. I actually made one out of wood, but did not bring it. And they fire pyros down here, and this cracks it. And they fall off, the bolt drops down through. All 4 bolts on each one drop through, and off it goes. People of consequence get awarded like a chunk of these after every launch, and they put it on their desk, and it's like very cool stuff. All right, I guess we have time for a shuttle launch. Scotty, this is all you've got. So pretty cool cameras, huh? You almost see in the window. We had one where there was somebody out there fishing, and they weren't supposed to be there, and we were trying to get them to leave. They sent out a helicopter, and we can literally read his T-shirt as he's caught a fish on the line, and he doesn't want to leave. The helicopter might have got a little close to the water, and then he decided he ought to leave, so I'm pretty sure the helicopter guy got chewed out for that, but we all... Later, somebody made a video of it going away completely. It's like... Anyway, so you've got these 2 big engines here. This is the Artemis engine they're using now, which is a shuttle engine at $100 million an engine, about 500,000 pounds of thrust. This is the new Raptor 3 engine, about 300,000 a launch, and it's same thrust. Complication-wise, can you understand why the government shouldn't be doing things like this anymore? This is private industry. Yeah, and these, even though these are reusable, they don't use them again. These get reused. They did make an order of 100 of these, so would have liked to got that contract. Here's the, they built a, we have these big crawlerways that go out to the pad, and they built a building in the middle of the crawlerway. Apparently they don't plan on using the crawler, which is, I guess they don't need it. And here's their Falcon 9 Heavy, and the Falcon 9, you can see this one's a little toasty burnt, but they build them there and that, and they roll them out. So this is one of their first payloads they launch. Oh, by the way, they do work that fast. That's why they're so cheap and efficient. So, and there's a little Starman here. There's another one up here. If they've analyzed the trajectory of where they threw this, and someday it might have the opportunity of actually slamming into Mars. So they don't win the first electric car in space. That goes to the Apollo program. They did it 3 times. But he may get the first one on Mars, well, in pieces anyway. So hey, not everything's successful when it lands. Here's it sitting out on the pad, super heavy. Not super heavy, Falcon Heavy. Let's go for a launch.
That core shutdown. Booster separation confirmed.
Zone 1 and 2. There we just heard sonic booms.
Full view from that stage 1 camera.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
What an amazing view.
Of course, I Still Love You is the name of the barge. This is kind of fun. When they did their first heavy launch, you're not really allowed to go on the roofs to look at launches because that's bad. But apparently the antennas on the roof of the Launch Control Center that I managed, along with the launch director who had to come help me look at the antennas, we went up and looked at the antennas, about 13 of me and my friends. But they have all these lightning spikes that are like this tall. If you fall off them, you get skewered. So we put Coke cans on top of them. So pretty fun stuff. Oh, now we got the big boy. This is the one they're going out of Boca Chica. So this is massive, 33 engines. I mean, it's 400 feet tall, so longer than a football field. I mean, huge. I mean, just huge. 16 million pounds of thrust. The Apollo was 7.5, so over double the thrust of the Apollo vehicle. Quite a bit weight. This first stage only burns for not quite 3 minutes. And I think I mentioned earlier, if you took all that fuel and put it in a pool, it would almost fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool and drain it in 2 to 3 minutes. I wouldn't want to be in there, by the way. So, what's the question?
How far does that get you up in the...
Well, I'm not sure the exact altitude, but it throws you as high as it can. That's probably about, they probably don't let go of it until they get in actually space, so we're above 60 miles, because that's when the atmosphere starts disappearing. There's your running dog heart nebula. That's when they start getting rid of stuff and they start throwing off the fairings. They do a hot start. So normally they would finish the first stage, let it fall away, then light the next stage. They don't do that. They light the second stage while it's connected to the first stage and blast away. So it doesn't even have a pause to slow down to going up. That gives them another 5% lift capability because they do that. The first time they tried it, didn't work. Blew the bottom out, blew it all up. Kind of fun. I'd love to show you the whole thing, but we're going to be here all night. All right, they've launched the 5 starships. They've caught 3 of them. So let's go ahead and catch one. This is the biggest engineering thing I've ever seen in my life. So
On the left hand. Landing burn has been ignited. We're now down to 3 Raptor engines. We can see those chopsticks now Megavilla has caught the booster.
So he commented on the fire coming out of the side of it. Did you see that? He's like, fire coming out of the side? We just need some duct tape and stuff. We'll cover that up. They've actually flown one of these twice. So that's, so name me the thing that catches we're going to go to the back because the front gets everything. What catches the vehicle? What's the name of the thing that catches the vehicle? Chopstick. I'm going to give that, chopsticks is part of the answer, but we'll go with that. There's Andromeda for you. What did you say down here? Cantry. I'm gonna hold out for just a touch better answer. But big grabby thing, that's close. And somebody come up with a better big grabby thing or one of those. Because I said I take wrong answers. So this was my first wrong answer here that I got, which it is the gantry is where they go in. So a little bit. This is called Mega Godzilla. So comes over and catches it. He has 2 of them at Boca Chica and 2 of them in Florida. He's building a couple of more in Florida, and he already tore down one of the ones in Boca Chica so he could take it down and rebuild it bigger and better. So he's going to go up to a bigger rocket. So this is just incredible that he did that. It was something called a quick disconnect that was leaking, and that was fuel coming out of there, so that's why it caught on fire. Didn't really impact the vehicle. It does kind of burn a hole in the side, but hey, we can fix that stuff. Now the upper stage keeps going. I believe this is in the Indian Ocean. Did it say? Either that or off Hawaii. This is the animation here of it. Oops. Right after this, it goes woof, blows up all over the place. It is amazing that they had a little boat there with a camera on it to watch it come in. So, and the Mega Godzilla is actually back testing catching it. So it's acting like it's catching it. And they fool it and say, give it the right GPS coordinates, and it actually tries to catch it even though it can't catch it. Eventually, they're going to catch these as well. So that's pretty cool. Now, we're going to look at just quickly, we're going to taste just a little bit of a rabbit, at cost of things. If you look in the Saturn V, the Apollo program, this is how much we're talking about per kilogram of weight to go up. And we're in the $50,000 range. And as you come across, shuttle was no cheaper whatsoever. The heavy, Delta IV Heavy, nothing reusable, still pretty much on this line. And it starts falling here. Why does it start falling? Because this is the Falcon 9, the Falcon 9 Heavy, and the Starship Super Heavy. So the price is coming way down to basically now where an average cheeseburger only costs about, a quarter pounder only costs about $200 a piece. Yeah, I'm going to be shopping there, so. Here's the Dragon capsule. They've flown it a few times. This is it coming up to space station. Watch the little jets coming out of the side. There's little thrusters firing. Lights blinking. I think they do that just to have fun. There's people in this thing. When it finally gets close enough to space station, what do they do here? Come on, guys. Where's my Canadians? Hey. So when they had trouble with the other one, which I won't name the company, Starliner, they were worried about it getting too close to the space station and a thruster not working and it running into space station, which would have been really bad. So they finally let them sit out there for a couple hours and cool down, where they could just fire just a touch of the thrusters. They pushed it in a direction, and the Canadian arm went out and grabbed it and brought them in. And then they said, we're not going in that thing again. So pretty much all the crew, and I was like, no, we're not flying it. It's been relegated to a cargo mission now, so they're going to try and still use it, but it's not going to be manned right now. It's the last I heard. So what happened there? Was that something I missed? Sometimes I have to pay attention to what I'm actually doing. You people think I know this stuff by heart. I don't know what I'm going to say. A friend down the street, a fireman who works out there, was saying, hey, the Dragon's going to fly in and land off the coast of Jacksonville. And I was worried we might not be able to see it. This is from the ground. This is literally over the tops of about 5 houses. That's how, when you look in the sky, it's like no missing this coming in. It was probably the second coolest thing I've seen. And then it goes out, and there's people in here. There's people in that right there. This is all fire, plasma. There's people there. Very cool. If you happen to be in Fort Lauderdale on one of their ship or something, and you're up in the middle of the night because you knew something might be going, me and 6 other people. Flew right over the ship. It's not like I didn't actually know that was going to happen. So anyway, and if you go into Port Canaveral there and you come by and visit me at my house, you've got my email. Just go ahead and email me, and I'll tell you that I live in Jacksonville or something. This is what you'll see on the dock there. I've literally been on a ship, and I talked to somebody, have you seen the rocket? And they're like, what rocket? I'm like, that one right there, like 100, 200 feet over there on the side, just sitting there. Blue Origin's also coming in there as well. And so they're going to have rockets just stacked up on the side over there. So, oh, this is a new competing program. This one has a lot of promise. There it is over there. So I ran a little rocket club for our church. So if you want to do this on board, put in a comment card that you would like to participate in the rocket club. These cost about nothing. This is a 2-liter bottle and some cardboard, and there's the payload right there. You get to eat that if it comes back. It's like Hershey's Kiss, and you get to paint it and get paint everywhere. We had one person put the rocket fins on the other side, like way up here, and you know what it did? It turned around, just like it was supposed to. We had one that the fins broke, and it flew in and landed like a plane. I'm like, that's how you learn stuff from... And to be clear, some of the kids in the class were 60. Because they wanted to come make one too, and it's like, oh yeah, we want to come make one too. So quite fun. You can launch them and launch them and launch them and launch them, and if you fix them, you can break them. The launch pad costs a little bit because I went and put a regulator on there so I didn't kill anybody. Okay, you're not going to kill anybody. The soda bottles will go up to 150 psi sometimes anyway, but I only took it to 40 psi, so, and I put a relief valve. So, but you can see my practicing over here. Practicing getting up is what I'm practicing. Here's what happens most every week when they launch at night. Maybe.
Oh! Wow! Wow! That is so cool.
It's like holy Jesus. It's like a sun.
Jesus? I haven't literally listened to the audio, by the way.
Alligators. See it in the water right there?
It looks like the It looks like the morning.
Yeah.
I'm going to let this run for a second. It's fun when there's clouds because it knocks the sound down.
Oh, that's cool. Look at it go. Whoa, I'm hearing it. Kind of.
Maybe. You will in a minute.
Oh, here it comes. Oh, here it goes.
Every week, 2 or 3 times a week. And if you're lucky, you get to see them come back and land. So that's pretty cool too, because you hear the sonic boom. Let's see if we got any more. Something launching. Moon. It's a blue moon. Crickets. So when you get to our house, park right on the driveway over here, and I'll give you the code. You just come right on in. You know, if the dog doesn't bite you, then you're in good shape. He's not usually there. What's the question? These are probably all Falcon 9s from SpaceX, because that's mainly who's launching right now. They're all 3 different launches. So this is from the end of my street. This is in front of my house, and the other one's from the back. This is the Terror of, and right there on the back side there, that's the Terror of Fall ride that I took before I came on board. Okay, we're going to jump a little bit because there's an A in NASA for aerospace. I don't know what this one's for, but I'm pretty sure it's for administrative purposes only. National Space, Aeronautics and Space Administration. Pretty cool. This is in the Smithsonian. This is the one that Neil Armstrong flew. Here it is underneath the, this was basically learning how to do the Apollo program. That's what they were doing. I'm kicking through this to make sure I get through, but okay. Nice, handsome guy. We've already been through this, right? So pretty cool rocket. 4,500 miles an hour, 67 miles up. He has the record for the, I think that's going to be, maybe that's in here, the record for the longest flight. Yeah,
1962, that would prove to be the most memorable. Armstrong's assignment that day was to test the X-15's new control system.
Ready to launch now. Good night.
When he separated from the wing of a B-52, Armstrong fired his engines. He accelerated at more than 5 times the speed of sound, reaching altitudes exceeding 200,000 feet. His control was good. But when he burned up all his fuel and was beginning his free-fall descent, the nose of his X-15 was still pointing up, which caused it to bounce off the atmosphere, throwing Armstrong nearly 50 miles off his intended course of Edwards Air Force Base in Southern California. The dry lake bed at Edwards was Armstrong's only option for a safe landing. Not only did he not have any power to go elsewhere, but because the X-15 used metal skids for landing gear, the dry mud of the lake bed was essential. Armstrong was falling back to Earth fast, and for several thousand feet, he couldn't maneuver the aircraft because of the thin atmosphere. Finally, he fell far enough that he could turn the X-15 and point it back towards Edwards Air Force Base, where he made an eventual safe landing. Armstrong's flight lasted 12 and a half minutes and covered a distance of 350 miles, making it the longest X-15 flight, both in time and distance. Of course, none of that was by design, but it nonetheless added to the lore of the courageous pilot, who a few years later would become the first person to walk on the moon.
So this same thing happened to one of the other pilots, and they went into a flat spin and did not make it. But there are no air surfaces on that thing. You can look at it, and the wings are terribly small. So to get it turned around was pretty good. So they said that when he flew back in, he wasn't going to make it. He was just barely raked the treetops coming in, getting into the land. So they probably went and cut those trees down afterwards. I might have done that. So the X-15 program was very successful. There were a lot of pilots that actually went high enough to qualify as astronauts, but the Air Force pilots had a different criteria, and they got astronaut wings. The civilian pilots did not. They did not give them astronaut wings. So I hate reading stuff, so let's just go on to the next chart. So when this was found out, 35 years later, Neil Armstrong decided to go back and let's talk to these people and give them wings. So finally. A little late, but they did it. Another cool mission, another awesomer mission, since we're using the term, is Cassini. I got to actually work the launch of this. Me and the project manager for the payload sat there and gabbed during the whole launch because our systems were working great, and we found out that it cost 50 times the price of gold for this payload by weight. So if you weight it and you multiply it times gold times 50, that's how much it cost per washer. So kind of expensive. So we're going to fly out to Saturn, and on the way we're going to fly by Jupiter. Oh, here, let's look at this handsome guy back here.
Yeah, NASA launch manager from Kennedy Space Center, the launch vehicle manager from Lewis Research Center, and also our 3, 2, 1, and liftoff of the Cassini spacecraft on a billion-mile trek to Saturn. Pitch program is in, roll program is in. We have cleared the tower and main supplying data.
So this is my seat back here. This is one of my counterparts. The other guy walking through there was a contractor. I'm like, get out of here, man. What are you doing in here? Get out of here. So we usually go lock the door here, shut the door ahead of time to make sure we don't have people walking in and out at the last minute. So pretty fun day. This is where the center director usually sits back here. We call that the Hummer room, because if they weren't locked in that room there, they would be coming up behind you. What are you working on? But we did use the wide fiber optics for him to talk to us if he needs something. And we said, no, knock on the glass in front of you. So he would knock on the glass right here, and we would come run around there. Actually, Marty, my counterpart, he would go stand behind him. It's a center director, so we'll make sure he's taken care of. Why the separation? They bug the crud out of you. You're sitting here trying to work on console, and these people that we normally put in there aren't critical to the mission. They're not on console. They want to be there because they're pretty high up, and they bring in dignitaries and stuff, and we put them there. 2 reasons. We don't want them asking us questions while we're thinking about something else, because we won't hear them anyway. We're focused in on stuff. And if they're we don't want them to do anything that they shouldn't do, press a button, do something. So we kind of protect them back there. They don't have transmit except for on one channel. They can talk to me if they need help. We can send them help. But it's kind of a way of protecting ourselves And it's become kind of a bit of a tradition to have something like that. So on the way there, we decide, hey, we're going to fly by Saturn or Titan, a moon of Jupiter, and we're going to drop off this probe here on the side called the Huygens probe. We're going to see what the atmosphere is made out of. I'm going to probably show that here in a second, but these are some of the moons that they found. They took a gazillion pictures. I think I showed one moon the other day of the one that looked like the Death Star. This is actually Huygens probe video, real video, landing on Titan. There's more of it, but I had to cut out the part where it shows the aliens. So they were thinking this was like a sea of methane, but this looks more like rock and stuff. But it basically lost communication pretty quick to it. There weren't any aliens. That was a joke. All right, so it went about, like I said, about 5 billion miles worth of travels. It kept looping around, taking pictures, lots and lots of pictures. So kind of a little bit of an expensive satellite here, not too bad. After 20 years, they're kind of done with it, and they have to decide, hey, what are we going to do after 20 years? We don't want to keep paying people for doing the same thing over and over again, so if we would get something to move here. Oh, this is a picture of Earth from it. There's also a picture that I showed in one of them that shows the Earth and the moon going across the sun that it took. It's very good. It gives you a good perspective on how big the sun and the Earth are. You'll have to wait for my Aurora Borealis presentation to see that, so book your next cruise, and never mind. This has RTGs on it as well. That's radioactive stuff out there that's getting it power. So let's go for a ride.
NASA's
Obviously, this is
Cassini
animated, sorry.
spacecraft is running out of fuel. The spacecraft carried a passenger, the European Huygens probe, the first human-made object to land on a world in the distant outer solar system. On the final orbit, Cassini will plunge into Saturn, fighting to keep its antenna pointed at Earth as it transmits its farewell. In the skies of Saturn, the journey ends, as Cassini becomes part of the planet itself.
So if there were aliens on Saturn, they might have considered this as an attack. So any day now, we might be getting a retaliation from bombing them from Earth. Okay, that happened a while back. So we have another one here, OSIRIS-REx, and I'm going to bring that up for two reasons. This is a landing of a payload on an asteroid, Bennu. It's not the first time we've done this, though, but it's the first time we've done it and tried to collect something and bring it back. We had a couple of them to do that. One when they were orbiting around a satellite and they were done with the mission, and the guys in the control room said, why don't we try to land it? And he says, well, it doesn't have any landing legs. And like, yeah, we're going to turn it off anyway. So they actually landed it, it bounced. They took it off again and landed it again. So they're having engineering fun. So this is it that's it in the high bay there before they go out. All these guys, I've done this before. I've been in the little pink men in suits. Not the ones that come get you in the white coats. Not those. These are the other guys. These are good guys. So this is actual footage. Well, this is a visualization. We're going to have there's going to be some actual footage in here. So, real footage. So when they did this, the probe went like 3 feet into the ground and got stuck. And so they had to really fire the thrusters to get it out. They finally backed it out. They had too much junk in there. They couldn't close the door, so they had to open it like 2 or 3 times to finally get the doors to close. And then they landed it in Utah out here. And these are the guys out there picking it up. And they brought it in, and they had one of the bolts strip off, so they had to go make a new tool, which is cool. I like new tools. And to get it open, they got it open. No aliens, but they are doing their total alien protocol here to make sure they don't get any contamination on it. Pretty cool. We got back some stuff to look at from an asteroid. Very cool. When it was done, so when it was done, they came back and dumped it off, and they decided to turn it into OSIRIS Apophis. and go after the asteroid 2024 that's supposed to hit us in 29. So it just kept flying on through, and they put it in orbit to chase it down and go look at what it's doing, so with what little fuel they had left. So are we ready to see the intelligent life form on some other planet? Because there is. Did anybody believe me? That person back there in the back believes me. You can have a picture if you come up later, because, I like to be believed. So, anybody else believe me? This lady here, you believe me? You can have a picture too. Anybody else want to try over here? You believe me, sir? You four come get pictures from me afterwards, because I need to get rid of these things. All right, this is the family of robots that we have, the intelligent life running around on Mars right now. This is what we started out with. These came in with airbags, and this did that funky little landing, which I'll show you here, because it's the size of a car. The engineers wrote JPL on the wheels so it would type JPL as it went, got yelled at, and they said, you can't do that, it looks bad. So they wrote it in Braille. So you can see it written in Braille here. Help me, please, send help. No, JPL, that's what it says. JPL. Never tease an engineer. Let's go for a landing. Again, I couldn't take these pictures myself, so we had to have somebody else take them.
Altitude of 8 kilometers. Valid range. Features are separated. We have acquired the ground. We are in hard flight. 5 meters in altitude. We found a nice flat place. Standing by the sky crane. Sky crane is started. Single nose, you remain strong.
Tango Delta nominal.
Jet is good. Touchdown.
So they do that because if they had the thrusters on the ground, it would blow so much stuff up, it would hit it and tear it apart. So they had to come up with some way, a sky crane. My son did a science project on this and won a science fair for it. So, had a little help, just a touch of help. So what do you go look at when you land on Mars? Your first thing, what do you run out and look at? So I don't know, that's kind of interesting. So I'm going to show you that. This is actually the parachute opening, so you can see a little bit what's going on. There's very, very little atmosphere, so it's kind of tricky on how you do a parachute. So you have to let it get really, really, really big. And if you let it out too fast, it rips off, so it's got a stage deploy kind of thing. And then the first thing you go look at when you get on Mars is, hey, what you brought with you and how it hit the ground and what it looks like. Like you couldn't do that on Earth and save yourself, a couple $1 billion. So these are the pieces of the craft that came off, and there's the parachute back over there. So I'm not supposed to touch this. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So this are some pictures. That's me animating. Ask me somebody who's asked me that question. Who's going to ask me the question about the letters? Come on, So this was the first hand I saw. No, these letters right there that says no. Oh, I don't see it. Okay, you can't get that then. What'd you say? No step. Those are ones that tell me what the heck to do with the slide. So it's like, don't touch it because there's something going to happen, or they tell me what to do up here. Just that's inside the story. Don't tell anybody. That's classified. Here's some nice pictures. That kind of looks like Arizona to me. I don't know. Yeah. The atmosphere is very clear, so you can go very far, but it still has the curvature of Mars. And what's that? I don't know. He ended up there. So this is them doing a drill sample. So they score the rock to clean it off, and then they can take a sample deeper down in the rock to see what it's made out of. So here's how they take the pictures. The camera really only takes a picture this big, and then they put a mosaic back together digitally to get the bigger, and they get higher resolution imagery that way, and they don't have to have a bigger camera. One of the first selfies ever took on another planet. They digitally removed the fact that it was actually taking its own picture. Come on. I guess he took 2. So this is the sky crane coming down. That's actual footage of it being dropped down. And then we've got some drilling holes, some lasers. We've got a helicopter or two running around here. So first sound you've heard from Mars. Metal wheels on the stones.
Of a helicopter flying on Mars.
So this was pretty cool. They were allowed to do a quadcopter kind of thing and run around and take some pictures. I wanted to throw this in there just so I could run out of time at the end. This is what my father launched back in his day in 1977. It's basically completely out of our Oort sphere, out of our solar system right now. It is still alive, still transmitting. It's very, very low power, so they only transmit so often. But this is the furthest thing from the planet that we've got going on right now, quite far out there. And here's our two stranded people on space station. They weren't really stranded, but they had to wait till they got a ride. They went up, had some problems with their vehicle, decided it was not best to come down on it. They did re-enter the vehicle later by itself. It did land fine, but it did have problems, enough to where they were concerned about flying them again. And I think I mentioned earlier that it's being relegated to a cargo kind of mission instead of a... They've both been on space station before, so it wasn't anything new to them. They did have to stay a lot longer. I don't know if they got hazard pay for having to stay longer than they were supposed to. But. And our animals in space, like the first space dog to go up, he was actually just a stray they found around and trained it to sit there and get roped in, but unlucky for him, he didn't make it. And he's our first two turtles that went before Apollo 8, so our first two space tortoises. And then we've got Ham. Just to let you know, we sent animals up that didn't come back either. So just, everyone only talks about Ham. So Ham had a few friends that didn't fare so well. So why are the turtles wearing helmets? That's a great question, and I'm going to give you a big alligator for that. I made that totally. All I know is that the mission Zon 5 had two tortoises on there, which I gave names and made them a medal and a plaque and everything, because when they got back, they became a part of some experiments that weren't too nice on them, and maybe turtle soup later, I don't know. So I decided to give them a little bit of personality and stuff, like I did my space otter the other day, if you saw that one. This is pretty cool. I was watching this the other day, and we're going to watch a star blow up. Pretty cool. So let's find out where it is. So if you go look way out here in Sirius, who was out on the deck with me this morning? Because we saw Sirius, and you could see that. And if you can go off to the... What time do I get on the deck? Oh, my goodness. Really early. Like 4? It was early. But there was somebody else out there waiting for the sunrise, and we got there way too early. But we saw about 12 satellites. You got to go up a little bit before sunset or go out when the sun's setting, and you'll easily find some satellites if it's clear. My wife will find them for you, and we'll point them out, and then it's pretty cool to see a few times. After you've done it once, you probably don't need to do it again for a while. So, but it's way out here, and this is actually some star charts zooming on where it is. So let's dive in and see if we can find it before I run out of... I'm like 2 minutes, I got to be out. So, okay, do something. No, that's not what you're supposed to do. I'm going to make you do something. This is not right. This is not right. I cannot live with this. We cannot do this. Not fair. All right, amuse yourselves individually. Tell jokes among yourselves. I've lost it. Am I going to do it this time? There we go. Three minutes. And then I'm only slightly in trouble. There's no audio in space, by the way. So this was filmed over a year and condensed into what we're seeing now, but this is actually a star-going supernova. And Sirius is over here somewhere. So pretty cool if you've never seen one. Here's a pulsar. They're making noise, so let's rapidly go through this since we're right at the time. Not many people have heard this. So that's the whole system spinning every time. Okay, we'll jump through this rest of this right quick. That actual music does play in space, by the way. Here's what our sun looks like today. In about 9 billion years, 4 billion years, it's gonna get really, really big, and it will expand all the way out to where we are, maybe past us, and burn up. So we have to worry about that in 4 billion years. Just a couple of quick things here. Other things related. Does anybody have one of these implants in their ear, behind their ear? So pretty cool.
Technically, your device is on. Can you tell? Oh, that's exciting. Here, you can put it down for a second. Just get used to the sound. What does it sound like?
It's the first time they've ever heard.
Oh, you're so good.
Incredible. If they make robots, sorry, they probably should look like Scarlett Johansson. I don't know. Here's a similar device that they're working on. This man is a quadriplegic, and he can now control a mouse with his brain. They've done two test subjects that they've done, and they're working on it. It's called Neuralink. Can you imagine not being able to move anything and now you can run a cursor? Apparently this is already happening. Has anybody been in a self-driving car? No. Really? Okay, come get a picture afterwards if you've been in a self-driving car, and if we run out, we'll just find more somewhere. Apparently you can actually go to sleep in them too if you want while you're going down the road. All right. I'm going to kind of end with this one right here.
Right, Ed,
this is an
I can
artificial
control it
hand.
like that, can do anything I want to do. It's just these two muscle sensors. So it's only squeeze to close, flex to open, cycling through grip modes. I can still operate in it the same way as if it was attached. Make it move.
That is
across the
incredible.
table.
Nice party favorite, you know. So I think that's all we've got. Oh, this is a heart valve. We've done this. This is me right here somewhere. Yeah, that's me actually right there. So, moo. Some satellites that we saw from space the other night. You can watch them fly by over here. So, and we can see that if we catch the weather right. And I'd like to thank my cast and crew for coming and helping me out. And I'm out of time, so I'll have to take questions out back. They're having another class in here, and I want to make sure they have room for that to be clear to them. But if you didn't get a picture, I owe you a picture. Come get me a picture for me. But I'll go out back and we'll do some other stuff and talk for as long as you need me. Thank you for coming. I've enjoyed it. So.